assume it's up and down. And if it's not, let me know. But I think this is done, and I just wanted to go live to kind of talk to you all about what I was thinking when I painted this and what my main painting philosophy was for this painting, because I think it's something that a lot of different skill levels can duplicate. So let me try to put this on my tripod without, see, it keeps asking me to rotate my device. I don't want to rotate my device. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, and so I might have to, start again. I've already started once. Again. Oh, good, there's 10 people watching and I'm messing this up. It's asking me to rotate my device, but I think it's fine. Can you guys see this? Is the girl up and down, or is she on her side? Let me see.
Are you frustrated with how expensive?
Okay, there's an ad playing. But aren't sure if solar is an affordable option. Stand by. I'm going to tell you the truth. All right, that looks good. Okay, there's an ad playing. Stand by. I'm going to. All right, that looks good. I'll probably get better at. Oh, thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Jean. Thank you for telling me that. I'll probably get better at. Oh, thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Jean. Thank you for telling me that. I've been painting this morning. And I think it's done, and so I thought it would be fun to just come on here and tell you guys a little bit about my philosophy for painting this and what worked and what didn't work. So this is 8 by 10. This is called Donna's Girl. This is painted on hippie crafter paper. And I'm just going to make sure I'm videoing with my other camera. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time here, but I've got to video this on my other camera too for my Patreon tutorial. I messed that up last time. So I just wanted to show you all where I went with this. And anyway, this is 8 by 10 on Hippie Crafter paper, which is a student grade paper. Oh, I'm sorry, Jean, you have to leave. Okay, this will be available on replay. And also, if you guys tuned in last week for the live, this is the finished painting of that live, and there is a full video of that session, and there's an edited version that went live yesterday. That is the first half of that live version that has lots of tips and tricks in it about how I painted this. But the reason why I wanted to paint this was, one, to reward my top Patreon member, who I appreciate so much, Donna. And so I asked her what she would like me to paint, and she gave me this. And two, my goal is for her and for everybody on my Patreon, everybody out there in the larger world too, who I also appreciate very much. I wanted to create a painting process of painting portraits that is more beginner friendly and not so complicated. And so the idea behind the painting philosophy for this painting is that I just focused on the lights and darks and didn't worry about all the mediums. There's a lot more medium skin tones in her face and, of course, her arm and her dress. I did not focus on those. The main thing I painted were the lights and the darks. I did get some mediums, but notice these darks are what tell the story of her face. These darks tell the story of the edge of her face. There's darks in between the flowers. There's darks in the shadows of the flowers. And the lights and the darks are the main values that I focused on to paint this to simplify it for more beginner to intermediate painters, so that I can give you the tools that you need to go and pick out a reference of your own and just look at the lights and darks and paint those. And don't worry about the rest. And that can often lead to a great result. Now, it does help a lot to have a very good reference. This girl was sitting, there were two windows and just lighting her face perfectly. That is a huge part of the success of this painting, is that I started with a painting, with a picture that really lent itself well. Oh, hi, Mikey. Thank you so much. So good to have you. Be sure to check out my other videos on this girl. There's another one in my live and then an edited down version. So thank you for joining. And so anyway, those were the main things that I focused on. I think it was very successful. I might do a video just on portraits that are painted with just lights and darks almost exclusively. I did put a good bit of mediums in here, but I have some examples in my files of paintings that are created with just lights and darks. And they're very useful to look at to realize that you don't have to put all these mediums in, just the darks, like the darks of her corners of mouth, the nostrils, the pupils, the dark corners of the eyes, these darks framing parts of her face. Those are the most important elements. And of course, the lights, where the light's hitting her. And the rest is kind of gravy. And so that's why I designed this painting the way I did. And now I am going to sign it for you all. I like to sign with these Micron archival pens. So these are really nice. And make sure I'm on all my cameras here. I'm just going to sign it here. This will be going to England. Donna is in England. All right. Now, the other very large problem that I have is that this is on hippie crafter paper, so it tears so easily when you take the tape off. That's the problem with cheaper paper. Also, I have a sizing issue of a blotchiness down in here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it'll focus enough, but in here you can see some blotchiness. Let's see if I tilt it in the light. Can you guys see that? So that's a problem with working on cheaper paper. Another problem working on cheaper paper is you don't get as much of good of value range. You can't scrub and soften. And so those are some drawbacks, but there's an important thing that's useful when painting on cheap paper. It kind of frees you up to just experiment and practice a lot without feeling like you're wasting good paper and feeling like you have to get it perfect. So it's so key to painting, to learning to paint, is if you have that feeling of, oh no, this is just such expensive paper, I can't mess it up, get you some cheap paper. This Hippie Crafter is great paper. It responds a lot like cold press, so you can learn a lot of watercolor techniques on this paper. And I am going to get my hair dryer out. Sorry, this is going to be loud. So this has to happen though. I've got to use a hair dryer to warm up my tape so it doesn't tear. All right, so I'm gonna unplug one phone. I'm filming all this on my 2 smartphones, by the way. So I'm just plugging in my hairdryer here. Sorry, it's so loud. Whew. Oh, hey, good morning, Pax's mom. So good to see you on here. Glad you found me. I've been chatting with her on Facebook Messenger, so it's so good to see someone from my Facebook coming to chat. That always makes me happy. And all right. Just making sure this is in the frame. All right, so that's pretty much everything. So this was a short live. I just wanted to show you this finished painting. It will be on my Patreon at the $13 level tier. I will be doing shorts probably about what I just talked about, just to give you guys little tidbits of yummy little watercolor morsels. And also, before I go though, I'd love it if anyone has questions. I'd be very happy to answer those. And maybe we should start doing these lives regularly so you guys know when I'm going to be on. That's just my problem though. My house can be so chaotic, and sometimes Parker is awake at this time and sometimes he's not. Right now he's at his grandparents' house, which is not typical. And so I had a quiet house, so I was able to finish this painting this morning, video everything, talk my way through it as I went, and do a live for you all. But sometimes Parker's going to be awake at this time, and it's hard to nail down a time when I can always do a live. So that's my concern there. But that's about everything that I wanted to show you. I'll be making some clips, of course, of the painting process, probably especially her eyes and the mouth. One of the things that I did while I was painting this, thank you so much about her turning out beautifully. Thank you. I was having a bit of a struggle getting her mouth right. So what I did was I followed the advice of the book Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And one of the exercises it has you do in that book is turn everything upside down. Turn your reference upside down and turn the drawing or painting upside down. And then you can see the shapes that you need to be painting. Instead of thinking in your left artist brain, oh, I'm painting a mouth, you start thinking with the right side of your brain, the rational, geometric engineering type brain, where you just see the shapes and you paint those and you don't think about the emotional side of the painting. And so I did that on my painting session earlier this morning that I videoed for the online tutorial. So that was really quite useful too, I think. So that was a really good lesson. I'll probably be putting a short up about that. And oh, hi, Polly. Polly gets beautiful, cute. As new to this medium, I relish these tidbits. I'm glad you're enjoying the tidbits. Whenever I do a short, you guys probably think I'm crazy, but the reason why I do shorts is twofold. Because actually on Facebook, if you do shorts and you post every day, Facebook will push your content out to more people. And growing my audience is key to me being successful with growing my online paying students, which is my bread and butter income. So that's why I do all these shorts mainly, is to grow my audience and also give you guys some nice tidbits of information for free. That these longer form videos, I have not gotten a system in place where I can make these weekly long form free videos without working full time on that video for a week, which I can't do that either because I have to uh, do tutorials for my Patreon students. So it's a juggling act that I'm trying to figure out still, but I do love to share with everybody. I wish everything could be free. Someday when I have lots more subscribers, maybe I don't have to have a Patreon anymore. But anyway, thanks about you don't care Parker making his noise. He makes a lot of noise though. You're welcome, Maureen. Thank you so much for leaving a comment. Does anyone have questions before I leave? It's such a pleasure to talk to you all. And thank you all for commenting on my videos, liking my videos, watching my other content. That helps me so much too, even if you don't pay anything. There is something called Super Chat and Super, what's the other super one? It's where you see a little dollar sign on the chat. You can give me a little tip if you want. If you enjoy my content, you don't want to commit to Patreon, you can leave me a little tip that way. Absolutely no pressure. I don't want anyone to do that unless they just feel it in their heart and finances aren't tight for you. I know finances are so tight for a lot of people, and I would never ask you to pay for something that it's too difficult. But another thing I will tell you is if you want to learn from me more in depth and money is an issue, just message me what you would like to see. You can go to my website, rachelstudio.com slash Patreon index, and you can see all my videos, and I'm happy to share tutorials with those of you who the finances is an issue. I've been there, so I get it, and I don't want money to be an issue, of course. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and if you think of a question, leave it in the comment. I love to chat with you guys in the comments. I really do. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is look at my comments and read them, and I love reading comments from y'all, so I always appreciate that. Oh, you have 3 boys. Yes, you get it. You get it. All right, y'all enjoy your Sunday. I intend to enjoy my Sunday. It's gorgeous here in South Carolina, and we are having very fortunate weather right now, so I'm gonna go pull weeds. I love pulling weeds. Does anyone else love pulling weeds as much as I do? I love it. Let me see if I can give you guys a close-up. Y'all want a little close-up before I go? There's close up of Donna's girl. I'm going to name this Donna's girl, I think. And for the flowers, I didn't look at anything. I just made up flower shapes and painted around them for the most part. Yes, I agree. I leave dandelions for the bees. You're right. And I have been leaving my clover. I have not been pulling up my clover because it feeds the soil and bees like clover. And in fact, I just bought some seeds for red clover that I want to put out front. So I'm with you. I love to see a yard full of dandelions. It might not look great, but it sure is good for our bees. And my bees love my yard because I always have something blooming. And right now, my bees are enjoying my blueberry bushes. So the blueberries have um, blossoms on them. And by the way, I do have a gardening channel. I never upload to it because it's a full-time job to do this channel and my Patreon, but I do wish I could put more on my gardening channel, which is Garden the number 4 Parker, Garden 4 the number 4 Parker. If you search YouTube for Garden for Parker or ask me in the comments to put a link, I will. Milkweed for butterflies. I've got milkweed, yes. And you know what else? I just discovered um, what kind of butterfly is it that likes parsley. I went out and looked on my dying parsley that was ready to be pulled up, and I had these gorgeous striped black, yellow, and white striped butterflies, and I looked them up, and they're a special kind of butterfly. I forget what, maybe swallowtail. And so now I grow parsley every year just for the butterflies. Um, because these particular butterflies only feed on like parsley and a couple dill and a couple other things. And I had lots of those little caterpillars last summer, so I've got parsley out there just for them. So yeah, I've got milkweed and parsley for the butterflies to eat while they're in the caterpillar stage. Anyway, I should go. Okay, I'm gonna go. I could talk gardening forever. So y'all go check out my garden channel if you like gardening. And this was such a pleasure. Enjoy your Sunday. Now go watercolor your world.